One of the most prominent, strongest, and legendary warrior women who lived in the 9th century is known to be the best shield maiden of the Viking era. Saxo Grammaticus mentioned Ragnar Lothbrok's first wife and the fantastic shield maiden of Vikings, no one other than Lagertha. It was in the 12th and 13th centuries when Saxo Grammaticus mentioned the powerful and ferocious Lagertha, and the source described her as flying around and also her incredible powers. Lagertha's power and strength were clearly evident through tales that say how she amazingly helped Ragnar Lothbrok to win the battle not once but twice. She can easily compete with Viking men and also can fight along with those powerful men. And the most attractive aspect of Lagertha was her beauty. However, we cannot forget that Saxo's writings of warrior women are mostly fictional. So is Ltha myth? Well, it's pretty difficult to figure out if Lagertha existed in reality or if she was only a fictional character in Vikings. To learn some fascinating facts about the Vikings and their people, make sure to watch the video until the end. So let's take a deeper dive and learn some exciting facts about Lagertha and other shield maidens. Lagertha's role in Vikings as an incredible warrior is amazingly described, and it's not only Lagertha who could fight with all her power against and along with Vikings, but Ragnar Lothbrok's third wife is also said to be one of the shield maidens of the Vikings era. She also fought a tough battle with her sons against the Swedes. But to compare Lagertha with Aslog could not be a rational decision, as Lagertha is different from all. But firstly, let's confirm if shield maidens are a reality. When it comes to Viking culture in the Vikings era, shield maidens are considered the female warriors equivalent to any Viking warrior. These strong women are known to fight against and alongside Viking kings. But when Vikings culture comes into the picture, there are not many gender barriers that were in other societies and cultures. And this is quite evident from Vikings history, where there were active women within the military office. Many Viking sagas, such as Hervarar, Saga OK Hydrex, and Gesta Danorum, have mentioned varied stories about shield maidens. In another such story, The Guardians in Valhalla is also entirely based on the topic of shield maidens. Apart from the mention in sagas, historians have also found graves of female settlers who had weapons too with them. They also confirmed with DNA testing that there were females residing in those caves. However, some of the really well-known sources did not even mention a single activity around shield maidens, so there are mixed views on whether shield maidens existed or did not exist. Even though many scholars are not agreeing with the fact of DNA testing, they're still finding those conclusions as premature conclusions. Who was Lagertha? A strong woman warrior, Lagertha was known as a Viking shield maiden, and she was known alongside Ragnar and other shield maidens such as Torvi and Astrid. The series of Vikings took all the evidence found in Saxo Grammaticus Gesta Danorum, where she's shown as Ragnar's wife. They have also mentioned their son Fridleif and two daughters whose names were not revealed but rather not found from the evidence. It's really interesting to glimpse how Ltha met Ragnar. Once Ragnar Lothbrok was heading to Norway, where he was planning to avenge the death of his grandfather in a war against Fro, who was a self-proclaimed Swedish king. The Swedish king was disliked by most of the women residing in that particular region. So to protect themselves against the self-proclaimed king, a group of women approached Ragnar's camp. Now both a strong army of men and a group of women approached the self-proclaimed king and attacked them. Here's the twist in the story. A woman warrior named Lagertha, who was known for her extraordinary skill set and courage. She was adored by an entire army and also by Ragnar because of her skills and also for her beauty. Finally, when they combined hard work by both men and women's army, they earned a victory against the self-proclaimed Swedish king, all thanks to Lagertha and her courage, which helped them to win the war against Fro. Ragnar was highly impressed by her beauty, assailant, and courageous nature. Saxo has fantastically described Lagertha's help to Ragnar, a skilled Amazon who, though a maiden, had the courage of a man and fought in front among the bravest with her hair loose over her shoulders. All marveled at her matchless deeds, for her locks flying down her back betrayed that she was a woman. However, Lagertha was not interested in any men, not even a warrior Ragnar, but once Lagertha brought a wild bear and a dog outside her house so as to protect herself from unwanted admirers. Nevertheless, Lagertha also wanted her true love to smash that bear and a dog into pieces. As we already know, Ragnar was instantly infatuated with Lagertha, so to prove himself worthy of her, Ragnar went to a place where she resided and fought with bear and hound. He amazingly shot the bear and choked the hound, which helped him clearly resemble his worthiness to Lagertha. The results were quite obvious, and the price for Ragnar's legendary skill was Lagertha and subsequent marriage. After their marriage, Ragnar and Lagertha spent 3 peaceful years in Norway. However, after 3 years, there was a roller coaster ride in Lagertha's life as legend. Ragnar was attracted to Sweden's King Harald's daughter Thora. Saxo ends Lagertha's story on a brutal note. In the saga, it was mentioned that Ltha, who had a matchless spirit through a delicate frame covered by her splendid bravery, the inclination of soldiers to waver. First she made a sally about and flew round to the rear of the enemy, taking them unawares, and thus turned the panic of her friends into the camp of the enemy. At last, the lines of Harald became slack, and Harald himself was routed with a great slaughter of his men. Well, this was not the actual end of Lagertha's story in Ragnar's life. She was called back with 120 ships entirely filled with soldiers to help Ragnar while he was fighting a civil war in Denmark. This time again, Shield Maiden of the Vikings era helped Ragnar. Lagertha smartly attacked the rivals from the backside and helped Ragnar earn a second victory against the foes. Who was Aslog? Aslog proclaimed she was the daughter of the legendary King Sigurd, who was successful in slaying the dragon Fafnir. She disclosed the fact that she will soon be giving birth to a son whose eye will have the image of a serpent. Firstly, Aslog denied Ragnar Lothbrok's proposal to marry him. However, later when Ragnar was back from the battle, she disclosed her real-life background and happily accepted the proposal. With the strengthening bond between Ragnar and Aslog, she gave birth to 5 sons named Sigurd, Bjorn Ivar, Ragnwald Ragnarsson, and Halfdan Ragnarsson. However, there were 3 daughters as well of Ragnar and Aslog named Ragnhildir, Ragnar Stadir, Aloof, and Ube. How many wives did Ragnar Lothbrok have? Lagertha was the first one, following her was Thor, and the last one was Aslog. Thor was not easy for Ragnar to achieve. If he wanted to marry Thor, he was to face the challenging task of killing the vipers scorching the countryside with their poisonous breath. This was a challenging task proclaimed by King Harald to marry his daughter. But we know Ragnar was not the one who gave up on things he desired for. So Ragnar dressed up, which was entirely stuffed with hair, which made the dress less penetrable but more protective. He further soaked the entire dress and allowed it to be frozen for some time to make it sustainable for the challenge. Once the dress was ready, Ragnar further found the serpents and managed to kill them with a spear. King Harald was surprised by Ragnar's act, and he immediately laughed out loud at Ragnar and named him Lothbrok. Accepting such insane challenges and successfully accomplishing them made it possible for Ragnar to marry Thor finally. Both of them shared an amazing bond, and after a couple of years, both were parents of 3 sons, Erik Ragnarsson, Halfdan Ragnarsson, and Agnar Ragnarsson. The 2 of them were shield maidens, and other than these, one named Torvi was also mentioned in the series. However, she was just a fictional character and not reality. Torvi was said to be trained by Lagertha, and both of them fought many battles together. So there's nothing surety as of now if Lagertha was a real Viking woman warrior, or if she was also just a fictional character mentioned in the sagas. So what are your thoughts on Ragnar's first wife Lagertha, an incredible shield maiden? Did shield maiden exist in reality, or they were just myths? Do let us know your views in the comments below. That said, if you enjoyed watching an interesting life tale of Ragnar, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more such exciting content. See you in the following video.